Hi everyone, so today's lesson is on solving inequalities. To get us warmed up, I'd like you to pause the video, have a go at those 4 questions. I want you to solve the following. Solve for x, get a value for x, okay? So pause the video, we'll go through them in a moment. Okay, so to solve linear equations, we need to do inverse operations, okay? So we need to do the inverse of adding 1 first, so we subtract 1 from both sides to get 3x is equal to 28 take away 1 is 27. Then the inverse of times it by 3, divide by 3 both sides. We get x is equal to 9. Okay, for the next one we've got brackets. So the first thing that you need to do is expand those brackets, okay? That means we need to times everything inside by what's on the outside. So 5 times 2x, 10x. 5 times minus 1, minus 5 is equal to 35. Okay, the inverse of taking away 5, we need to add 5 both sides to get 10x is equal to 35 add 5, 40. Then divide by 10, we get x is equal to 4. Okay, for the next one, this time we've got x's on both sides. So when you've got unknowns on both sides, you want to get rid of the smallest unknown first. So the smallest unknown is the 3x. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, so we've got 7x take away 3x, we get 4x minus 1 on the left hand side. The 3x has disappeared because I've subtracted it, so I'm just left with 15. Okay, so the inverse of taking away 1, we need to add 1 to both sides. We get 4x is equal to 16, and then finally divide by 4, we get x is equal to 4. Okay. Next one, so the final one, we've got a mixture of brackets and unknowns on both sides. So the first thing, when you see brackets, always multiply out the brackets first. If I expand that, I get 6x add 2 is equal to 4x add 18. Now we've got an equation just like number 3. We've got unknowns both sides. So what we need to do is get rid of the smallest unknown, which is 4x. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Subtract 4x. To get on the left hand side, 6x take away 4x, we've got 2x add 2 is equal to 4x has disappeared, 18. Okay, so again, subtract our 2, inverse of adding 2, to get 2x is equal to 16. And then we're going to divide by 2 both sides to get x is equal to 8. Okay, so there was a reason I gave you that. Those are the skills that we're going to be using today for today's task. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into an example. Okay, so for our first example, we've got an inequality. We've got 4x add 5 is greater than 49. So it's an inequality. If we're asked to solve an inequality, we're using the exact same skills that we've used for our starter activity there. We're using inverse operations. The only thing that changes is the sign. The sign is just the only thing that's different, okay? So to solve this, we're doing inverse operations. So we're subtracting 5 from both sides. So we get, on the left hand side, we're left with 4x is greater than 49, take away 5 is 44. Okay, so then 4x means we're timesing it by 4, so the inverse of timesing by 4, divide both sides by 4. So we've got x is greater than 11. And that's it, that's you finished. If you're asked to represent that in a number line, which you won't be for your Hecate Maths task, but it's good to know. So for your number line, we've got 10, 11, 12, and so on. So x greater than 11, remember from your last task, it's a hollow circle of 11. Greater than means it's pointing up the way. Okay, so you won't be asked to do that on your quiz on Hecate Maths. So all you'll be asked to do is solve the equation. So that's your solution there. X is greater than 11. So pause the video, have a go at your turn, and in a few moments we'll go through it together. Okay, so we're doing two things to x on the left hand side. We're timesing it by 3 and we're adding 6. So we need to do two things to get x on its own. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of the minus the 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. So we've got 3x, right? We've got 3x is less than or equal to 42 take away 6 is 36. And then we divide by 3 to get x is less than or equal to 12. Okay, so it's the exact same skills as when you're solving linear equations. The only thing that's different is the sign that we're using. It's not an equal sign, it's either less than or greater than or less than or equal to. Okay, right, so next example. Okay, so for our next example, we've got an inequality again. 9x take away 8 greater than or equal to greater than or equal to 13. So this time we're asked to give it as an improper fraction in its simplest form, okay? Right, so sometimes we're not going to get nice integer values, obviously, so we'll just leave it as an improper fraction in this case. So let's see, we've got 9x minus 8 greater than or equal to 13. First thing we need to do is the inverse of taking away 8, which is adding 8 to both sides. Get 9x greater than or equal to 13 add 8, 21. Then we divide by 9 both sides to get x is greater than or equal to, remember we want an improper fraction, 21 divided by 9 is 21 over 9. Okay, so we're asked to give it in its simplest form, so we need to check, can we simplify that any further? So I know 3 is going to go into both of them. So if I divide top by 3, I would get 7. Divide bottom by 3 to get 3. So an improper fraction in its simplest form would be 7 over 3. Good. Okay, so pause the video, have a go at the your turn, and in a moment we'll go through it together. Okay, so we've got 7x take away 5 less than or equal to 13. Okay, so we want to add 5 to both sides. Add 5 to get 7x less than or equal to 13 add 5 is 18. Then we need to divide by 7 to get x is less than or equal to, remember, an improper fraction. 18 divided by 7 is 18 over 7. Okay, at this stage we do need to check, can we simplify it? But in this case we can't, so that's your final solution, that's your final answer. Alright, next example. So the last couple of questions, they're a little bit more involved with some skills using brackets and when we've got x's both sides. So let's have a go at this one. So we've got 6 brackets x add 3 less than or equal to 4x add 1. First thing you need to do when you see brackets is expand. So we've got 6x add 18 less than or equal to 4x add 1. So we've got unknowns on both sides. We've got x's on both sides of our inequality sign. So we want to get rid of the smallest x. So we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. And on the left hand side, we're going to be left with 6x take away 4x is 2x add 18 is less than or equal to 4x has disappeared. So we're just left with 1 on the right hand side. Okay, so we need to subtract 18 next. Subtract 18 from both sides. Get 2x less than or equal to 1 take away 18 is minus 17. We're asked to leave it as an improper fraction in its simplest form. So if we divide by 2, we've got x is less than or equal to minus 17 over 2. Good. Okay, so again, pause the video, have a go at your turn, very similar. Have a go, and we'll go through it together in a moment. Okay, so we've got 3 brackets x minus 4 less than or equal to x minus 5. So the first thing we need to do is expand our brackets to get 3x minus 12 less than or equal to x minus 5. To get rid of the smallest x, so our smallest x is the x on the right hand side, so we're going to subtract out an x, Left on the left hand side, we're going to have 3x take away x is 2x minus 12 less than or equal to, x has disappeared, don't forget your minus sign, that's still there, minus 5, so less than or equal to minus 5. So we're going to add 12 next, both sides add 12 to get 2x less than or equal to minus 5 add 12 will give me 7. Divide by 2 to get x is less than or equal to 7 over 2. Okay, so hopefully you got that. Next, log on to Haggerty, complete the task that has been set. Any questions, you can always get me on Haggerty. Thank you.